Welcome back to Trojans Live. It's the football table segment. Shaun, ping pong segment?
That's a round table right there.
It's a round table, correct.
I have to turn it. This is the first time I've ever looked this way.
We're like awkwardly positioned. It's totally fine.
Yeah, the whole thing is going up. Ben's over here. This is nice.
Unlike Jordan, I'm going to put you to work, Shaun.
All right.
Please just say ad read, please.
I wrote this down right now. When you've got good beer and good vibes, it's all buena. Stone.
Buena Vesa.
There you go. Salt and Lime Lager is Baja inspired and imported from San Diego. Located near you at fine.stonebrewery.com. Cheers.
Well done. See, you should be doing this, not me. Well, Shaun, it is the football roundtable segment. Like I mentioned, we got to talk about Saturday's game. Some positives, like we've identified so far on this show, but obviously a change was made by head coach Lincoln Riley. Overall, just where do you stand right now with the state of the program right now?
Yeah, it's tough. I've been a part of teams that have made during the season changes at coordinator positions or coaching positions, and it's tough. It's difficult. You're on one aspect, especially in college. The recruiting is involved, and there's a lot of things that kind of roll into this. So I think it was time for something. I think everyone kind of felt that way. I think it's obviously a tough thing to do because how much do you get out of that change? I think is important to always think about because just because you change doesn't mean things are going to change. But hopefully, you're trying to spark something with the guys. Something that Coach Nua or Coach Odom can kind of spark in them to get a little better performance because it just wasn't up to snuff really if you're being honest and that's why the change occurred. The defense hasn't played better in a couple weeks and it just seemed like it needed something to change, and I think this is a needed change and this in the coaching profession this happens. This is part of it. If you're not doing your job, you're not getting it done. Someone's gonna fall for that. So right here we're with Alex Grinch and he gave it his all and now we're gonna see if somebody else can step in and try to find it out.
In that sense, what's a realistic expectation to have for this defense on Saturday? We've mentioned it's a tough Oregon offense,
yeah.
So it's hard to have that as a litmus test. But what do you expect?
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge. If you're being quite honest, Oregon is an offense that's they've got it rolling right now. You watch them week in week out, and they're putting points on the board. And we definitely struggled against a Washington team that was kind of in the same manner. A little different ways they attack you. I mean, obviously, Bo Nix is a quarterback who can beat you with his arm, beat you with his legs. Mm-hmm. Michael Penix was a little bit more pocket quarterback, and a talented running backs we've mentioned already at Oregon. So it's going to be hard. It's going to be tough. It's going to be. They're going to have to find some leaders, I think, on this team to be like, hey guys, this has got to be. We've crossed the threshold here. We've lost a coach on the way here, and the players got to take accountability for what has happened because it's on them too. They're not performing at a level high enough or a standard high enough to play good defense, and so. It's going to be, like I said, it's going to be, but it's quite a challenge when you're having to go on the road in Autzen and you're trying to make a new change. So I think to simplify things might be one of the things they do. I think if you've watched this defense long enough, you've seen a lot of mental errors. Are guys lined up in the right position? Are guys, do they know what job they're supposed to do? You've seen a lot of that occur, and I think with some of that, you tailor back the amount of processing you want the players to do, and you just let them kind of play football more. And I think that's maybe what Coach Nua and Coach Odom can kind of do.
What does that actually look like? Like what would that look like on Saturday if they are more quote unquote free?
Yeah, it's lining up and playing football sometimes. Sometimes you just want to put your feet down and just do your responsibility. And I think I see a lot of defenders out there questioning whether or not they're in the right spot or what their assignment is. And when you're doing that and the play's snapping and you're not ready to go, you don't really give yourself a chance to play defense. And I always like just lining up. I knew my responsibility. Let me line up. I don't want to move around. I don't want to shift. I want to be in my spot and I want to do my job. And I think that's something they can do a little better is just, all right, let's just take away a lot of the question marks on this and responsibility. So don't worry about this shift or that shift and this motion and who do I got it. All right, this is what you're going to do. You're going to line up here. You're going to put your hand down and you're going to do that. And that's from a D lineman's perspective, but you got to be able to kind of like just tailor it down a little bit. Cause I think it's right now it just seems a lot for all the players. It's kind of swimming in information and not playing fast.
You talked about it with head coach Lincoln Riley earlier, but that banding together that you need to do in this type of situation. Yep. And I know Jordan Moore has talked on this show before about kind of the underdog mentality, and maybe that's something that USC needs to embrace. I mean, if you're a leader on this team, what mentality, what are you telling your guys to kind of have each other be backs against the world in this scenario.
Yeah, it's fun because Lincoln mentioned it. It's in these kind of circumstances where a lot of outside noise is swirling around the team.
Yeah.
It's almost better to go on the road and be with your guys, right? It's be with your team, be on the bus, we're on the plane together, and like it's us. We can kind of knock all that out. Obviously, Otson's going to be cranking, and the people will be going crazy, and it'll be an environment, but when you're with your guys in that little crappy locker room the visitors get usually, and and you have to find it together in this raucous environment where everyone is pulling against you. Sometimes that can bind you and bring you together a little bit, and so hopefully they can find that kind of energy, I think, going in this weekend.
As we alluded to, it was a good offensive performance from USC on Saturday. As far as we don't know the status of Marshawn Lloyd going forward, but Austin Jones, the run game that we saw from USC, that seems like the football saying is you always pack a run game. Yep. What do you expect from USC's offense against Oregon?
Yeah, hopefully more of the same. It really offensively, they were on point on Saturday against Washington. The run game, obviously Marshawn Lloyd's a super talented back, but Austin Jones said, "Hey, don't forget about me. Yeah. I can tote the pill too." And Darwin Barlow got a shot. Really Brown got a touchdown off the edge and got a chance. And we'll probably see some more of him if Marshawn Lloyd doesn't go. But I just think it's more of the same. They just got to keep operating it at that high level, and And I know we look at some of the mistakes that occurred, you see a fumble, but I just feel like there's so much pressure on this offense to try to perform at such a high level all the time. And it's just not realistic. Football isn't played to perfection, and this offense has been close to it a few times, but to keep it up like that, it's just I think unrealistic, and they're going to have mistakes, but that's when you need to play complementary football with your defense and let them pull you out some binds.
Quickly now, the weather in Eugene seems like it's going to be ugly. Does that actually have an effect as someone who's a veteran of the game?
Yeah, maybe for skill guys, but the big ugly guys don't care. It could be
it's all the same.
It could be 90 degrees or 40 degrees. It's just a mud wrestling out there if it gets wet.
Okay. Alrighty, Shaun. We have one more segment. It's the over under. I guess it's between us. I don't know. You and I usually don't like this.
We'll just arm wrestle.
Okay, that works too. I'll lose immediately. But we'll be back with one more segment of Trojans Live next. The over under is presented by Pechanga Resort Casino, proud partner of USC Athletics. Already, Shaun, I know you love this segment.
Man, this is my favorite thing to do.
You wake up in the morning thinking about over-under.
Over-unders, yeah. And everything I do in life is just an over-under, really.
100%. Now, caveat here, Jordan Moore is not here to make the wonderful over-unders that he makes. Yeah,
he's wonderful at it.
He is, yes. So I'm just going to highlight USC's run game this past week. USC's averaging almost 5.5 yards per carry this season.
Okay.
Against Oregon, if they rely on the run game in a wet environment, maybe over under.
So I kind of feel like I know your answer already.
5.5 yards per carry for USC.
I will go. Will they go over 5.5 yards in average? I mean, that's a high number.
It is. This just goes to your film study at this point of the week. Yeah. Like, what have you seen from Oregon's defense?
My Monday film study.
You know how it is.
I like the over on this. I think the run game and how Lincoln has been calling the games and feeling out that run at the last couple of weeks. I like the chances and over, and especially with the confidence I think Austin Jones is running with and he gained from last game. Maybe put him on the over 5.5.
I think I'm going to take the over, too.
All right.
Yeah.
So you got to take the under. I feel like you should take the under.
I'm taking the under, Shaun.
There we go. Now that's how you're supposed to do it.
Okay, sorry. I'll be contrasting there. I mean, did you feel like having such a successful run presence put pressure off of Caleb Williams on Saturday? I felt like he was in the zone.
Yeah. I mean, he had a terrific performance, and you could see that. I mean, anytime you can run the ball like that, your offensive linemen feel good about what you're doing. Your quarterback feels like, all right, now. And then the defense has to they have to lock down another aspect of the game. They can't just focus on what Caleb's doing, the wide receivers doing. And so it's, I mean, gotta run the ball, and I think they did it at a high level last week.
As far as where this team sits, Riley talked about how this is still after all of this, they still have a shot to make it to the Pac-12 championship. If you're a veteran leader on this team, especially on the defense, what's the message? Like, how do you get? Because the interesting thing is this team has had so much fight. It's not like the quote unquote locker room is lost. They're still very much in it, both literally and figuratively. How do you kind of unite that to one purpose? Well,
fight is great. It's kind of the bare minimum, though. You expect your team to fight. That's kind of that sometimes when I hear they got a great fight. That's kind of you want bare minimum. You want that team fighting. They are fighting. They are fighting in these games. They got to execute better. They have a chance. The hard thing is, you as a player, you don't ever worry about those kind of things like schedules, or you never figure out, oh, we're going to be in this game, Pac-12 championship. You don't think about those things. You're kind of just in the moment. Those things are possible now. They need some things to fall their way now. They don't really control their destiny. They need some breaks now. That's the unfortunate part. They had a chance maybe this week to do that, but couldn't capitalize. That have to put their head down, worry about Oregon, and trying to right this ship on defense to try to get a win on Saturday.
Overall, I mean, what are you expecting on Saturday? How is this one going to go?
Got to find a way to get a couple wins, I think, against Bo Nix on the defensive side. Now they're going to score some points. They're a good offensive team. They're doing a lot of good things. We just made a switch at defense. We might be a little bit simplified, so they're going to find some holes. But if you can make a couple key plays, special teams, defense, find a couple of those plays, you might have a chance.
Trojans Live is a production of USC Sports Properties and Play Fly Sports. Our executive producer is Drew Hart, and our producer is Rick Cutler. Shaun, thank you so much for joining me today.
Keely killed it.
Thank you to everyone, the crew. Be sure to watch men's basketball at 7 p.m. Shots to women's basketball. Got an upset victory this earlier today, but that's going to wrap it up on Trojans Live. Fight on, everybody.